Graduates, repeat after me, 200 degrees. Burn that sky. Supersonic. Don't stop me now. Graduates, I want you to look around for a second. Look at your families. Look at your friends. Look at your faculty. Look at the people who helped you get there. The ones who sent money. The ones who sent snacks. The ones who sent texts saying, "Did you eat? I'm proud of you. Are you sure about that major?" And graduates, let's be honest. Some of you are probably sitting here today thinking, "I cannot believe I made it." And some of your parents might be thinking, "I cannot believe they made it." And some of your faculty might be thinking, "I cannot believe they turned that final paper in at 11:59 p.m. with a timestamp that looked like a hostage note." But they made it. Or as Taylor Swift, the great philosopher, said, "Long story short, I survived." You survived finals, you survived group projects, you survived FAFSA, you survived that professor who said, "There's not a lot of reading," and then they uploaded 87 pages. And some of you are thinking, "Please, Michael Bobbitt, be inspiring, but not too inspiring. We have brunch reservations." So I will try to do three things today. I'm trying to make you laugh, speak truthfully, and leave you with something useful enough to carry beyond the Amsler Center Gymnasium. And if you don't laugh, this speech will get really long. Commencement speeches can sometimes sound like motivational posters. Follow your dreams, reach for the stars, the future is yours. Graduates, you are entering a world that does not need vague hope. It needs skilled hope. It needs disciplined imagination. It needs people who can look at broken systems and say, "I don't just want to critique this, I want to redesign it." This is why I'm so honored to be here at MCLA, the Commonwealth's public liberal arts college, a place that believes in access, critical thinking, creativity, public purpose, practical application, and leadership. A place that says education is not just about getting a job, though please by all means get a job. Student loans are not a vibes-based economy. MCLA says education should prepare you to become practical problem solvers and resilient global citizens. That is a survival strategy because you are graduating in a world that is beautiful and ridiculous, and terrifying and hilarious and unstable and full of possibility. I've spent my life in the arts, I've led theaters, I've worked with artists, I have worked in state government, and now I lead Opera America, which means I spend a lot of time thinking about one of the most beautiful, expansive, emotionally excessive art forms ever invented. Opera is amazing because it takes every human feeling and says, "That's nice, but let's make it louder and longer and in Italian." Opera is also facing real challenges. Audiences are changing, costs are rising, traditions are being questioned, old business models are straining, and many institutions are discovering that what worked before will not automatically work again. And I tell you this because the challenges facing opera are not just opera's challenges. They are the challenges of the whole world. Every field is asking, who are we for now? What value do we create? What habits do we need to let go of? What do we preserve? What do we reinvent? What do we stop pretending is fine? This is not just an arts question. That is a healthcare question, a climate question, a technology question, a community question, a higher education question, a democracy question, a life question. And graduates, you are entering a world at a time when the old scripts are breaking. That can be frightening, but it can also be freeing because when the old scripts no longer work, somebody gets to write new ones. So why not you? So I want to offer 2 charges today, not advice. I think advice can be what people give you when they want you to repeat their lives. These are charges, invitations, challenges. Here they are. Number 1, don't just find your place in the world, make the world worthy of your place in it. And number 2, don't wait to be ready before you begin. So let's start with the first. Don't find your place in the world, make the world more worthy of your place in it. For generations, graduates have been told to go out and find their place in the world. That sounds noble, but it can also sound like the world is fixed, and your job is to squeeze yourself into whatever space is left. I don't like that. That feels like trash to me. Some of the spaces available are just too small. Some are outdated. Some are not built with you in mind. Some were built to keep you out. Some will invite your labor, but not your leadership. Some will celebrate your identity, but not respect your ideas. Some will say they want innovation, but punish anyone who actually tries to change something. So no, do not simply find your place in the world. Make the world worthy of your place in it. That is what artists do. That is what public servants do. That is what organizers, teachers, nurses, entrepreneurs, engineers, parents, designers, scientists, social workers, and good neighbors do. They look at the inheritance and they ask, is this the best we can do? And then they build. When I led Mass Cultural Council, I had the privilege of building by seeing creativity not as decoration, but as infrastructure. We saw artists help communities heal. We saw cultural organizations educate young people, preserve history, strengthen downtowns, and rebuild civic trust. We saw creativity show up in public health, economic development, education, workforce, tourism, and community life. And during critical times when everything feels like it is collapsing, the arts do not become less essential, they become more visibly essential. Because when life gets tough, people turn to Chapel Roan songs. They turn to stories. They turn to movies and dance and books and TikTok and murals and streaming performances and FaceTime birthdays when somebody's auntie is just singing off key. And what I learned at Mass Cultural Council is this: creativity is not a luxury, and the real work after the real work is done. Creativity is how the real work becomes possible. Graduates, this is where your liberal arts education matters. You think across systems, communicate across differences, learn what I do not know, adapt, ask better questions, build meaning, connect ideas, understand people, recognize patterns, make beauty, challenge assumptions, read the room, read the data, read the footnotes, read the group chats. That is power. The world is full of people with technical skills who cannot understand context. The world is full of people with opinions who cannot ask questions. The world is full of people with platforms who cannot build trust. The world is full of people who know how to win arguments and lose communities. Your education has prepared you for something deeper, to live with complexity without surrendering to cynicism. And that work is now. The great and powerful Beyonce Carter Knowles gave us a whole leadership curriculum in one line: I dream it, I work hard. Dreaming without work becomes fantasy. Work without dreaming becomes exhaustion. It is hard to slay when you are sleepy. Give it up. Be awake without being overwhelmed. Be informed without becoming numb. Be ambitious without becoming hollow. Be successful without becoming unrecognizable to yourself. Number 2, don't wait to be ready before you begin. This one is personal. I've had a career that looks from the outside like a plan. It was not. I've been an artist, teacher, choreographer, director, playwright, executive director, state arts leader, CEO, and now, apparently, according to today's ceremony, a doctor. Mama Bobbitt is really proud. It also means that the people that live in my house have to refer to me as Dr. Husband and Dr. Father. The truth is, most lives are not ladders. They are collages. They are remixes. They are Spotify playlists with surprising transitions. They are not parts, they are one part strategy, one part accident, one part failure, one part I met somebody at the right time, and one part I had no idea what I was doing, but I said yes anyway. We often think we do not feel ready when we begin, but readiness can be overrated. Now, I'm not saying just vibe your way into neurosurgery or biotech or rocket science. Preparation matters, discipline matters, skill matters. But if you wait until you feel completely ready, you may wait forever. Most meaningful things begin before you feel qualified. The first time you lead a meeting, the first time you negotiate a salary, the first time you move to a new city, the first time you say, I love you, the first time you say, I'm sorry, the first time you say, this is not working, the first time you say, I deserve better, the first time you say, I have an idea, the first time you say, why are we doing it this way, the first time you say no, the first time you say yes. You will be tempted to believe that other people have a secret manual. They do not. Some people have privilege, some people have mentors, some people have money, but nobody has the whole manual. Everybody is improvising with purpose. The difference is that some people learn to improvise with purpose. This is what artists know. In rehearsal, you do not wait for perfection to enter the room. You enter the room so perfection has somewhere to visit. You make a choice. You test it. You fail. You adjust. You listen. You try again. You learn the difference between a mistake and a discovery. That is a life skill. And it matters because the world you are entering will not hand you clean problems. It will hand you tangled ones. Climate change is not just a science problem. It is a politics problem, an economics problem, a design problem, a justice problem, a storytelling problem. Public health is not just a medical problem. It is a trust problem, a communication problem, a housing problem, a food problem, a loneliness problem. The future of work is not just an employment problem. It is an education problem, a dignity problem, a technology problem, a meaning problem. And the future of democracy is not just a voting problem. It is a belonging problem, a truth problem, a listening problem, and a courage problem. You have been educated for tangled problems. Your liberal arts degree is a contract to help the world solve tangled problems. Also, I'm really sorry about all the tangled problems we are handing you, like a lot. We kind of nailed that. Sorry. So some of you are thinking, this all sounds beautiful, but I also need to pay the rent. Yes, idealism without material reality is just expensive poetry. So let me be practical. As you leave here, learn how money works. Learn how contracts work. Learn how institutions work. Learn how power works. Learn how budgets reveal values. Learn how meetings actually move decisions. Learn how to speak in rooms where people disagree. Learn how to ask for help without apologizing for needing it. Learn how to build community before crisis. Learn how to tell the difference between feedback and projection. Learn how to leave places that require your exhaustion as proof of commitment. Learn how to rest before your body files a formal complaint. And learn how to keep some part of yourself unmonetized. Not every job has to become a hustle. Not every hobby has to become a brand. Not every joy has to become content. Some things are valuable because they slow us down enough to remember we are alive. That may be one of the great rebellions of your generation. You refuse to become machines in a world obsessed with productivity. I want to speak for a moment to the families. Families, today is your commencement too. You may not be receiving the degree, even though some of you got all the invoices from Bursar, but you carried part of the weight. You answered the calls, you prayed, you worried, you pretended not to worry. You watched these graduates start feeling themselves, which is beautiful and occasionally annoying. But today, you get to celebrate because the person sitting before you has crossed a threshold, not into uncertainty, not into ease, but into greater capacity. Now, graduates, I want to leave you with an image. You are called trailblazers. That is a bold name. A trailblazer is not simply someone who walks a path. A trailblazer makes one. But blazing a trail does not happen alone. Every trailblazer is carrying tools made by somebody else. Every trailblazer is guided by stars they did not create. Every trailblazer stands on grounds shaped by ancestors, teachers, workers, neighbors, friends, and strangers. Trailblazing is communal courage moving through uncertainty. So as you leave MCLA, need people, love people, build with people, argue with people. Find the people who make you braver and kinder at the same time. Find the people who tell you truth without trying to shrink you. Find the people who celebrate your becoming, not just your performance. And be that person for others. Because the future will not be saved by isolated geniuses. It will be saved by networks of people willing to practice courage together. The future belongs not to the loudest, not to the richest, not to the most certain, but to the most adaptive, the most creative, the most courageous, the most willing to learn. The world needs your questions. The world needs your art, your science, your organizing, your teaching, your caregiving, your entrepreneurship, your public service, your humor, your refusal to, and your repair. I believe the world needs people who can hold contradiction. As you go from this place, here's my charge. Do not simply chase success, define it. Do not simply enter rooms, change what rooms are for. Do not simply protect your resume, protect your wonder. Do not simply make a living, make a life that gives life. Do not simply ask, what can I get? Ask, what can I build? Ask, who is missing? Ask, what is possible now that was not possible before? Ask, what must I refuse? Ask, what must I imagine? And when the world feels like it's too much, too loud, too broken, too divided, too expensive, too uncertain, too extra, too everything, everywhere, all at once, remember this. You do not have to fix the whole world in one gesture. Just be the kind of person through whom repair is possible. One honest conversation, one brave question, one generous act, one beautiful idea, one institution challenged, one community strengthened, one young person encouraged, one old pattern interrupted, one door opened, one trail blazed. Graduates, I'm going to ask you to do something. Please stand if you can and face your parents, family members, chosen families, mentors, friends, whoever helped you carry this day. Find them. Look them in their eyes. All right. Raise a hand for the graduate's pledge, which I just made up. Now, graduates, repeat after me. I pledge to do great things with this degree. I promise to use what I have learned to make a living and make a life that gives life to others. I promise to visit often, not only for free snacks, clean laundry, or just a quick $100, which you will never see again. I promise to remember that I did not get here alone. So today, in front of everybody, in this cap and gown, I say thank you and I love you. And I pray. And I promise to call and text more than emojis. And since I'm an adult, I am legally bound to pay you by the hour for continued parenting. Please be seated. Parents, should we normalize that? Charging adult children for parenting? I do send my child an invoice on Cash App. He doesn't ever pay, but as I finish up, I want to leave you with a quote from the great and powerful person. In the words of the great singer, rapper, songwriter Lizzo, you're 100% that, and I will let you finish that in your hearts because this is a commencement. Congratulations, 2026 MCLA Trailblazers.